Hi everyone. Sorry about that. I was just checking something, if you will. But I thought I'd come on here, the mic right there, so you can hear me. But I thought I'd come on here, and you see the title of the vid, and it's pretty much says itself. I want to talk about, just come on here live and talk about the Yeah, because I just wanted to come on here and talk about just checking something out again. Just talk about the um last episode 14 from this recent season called Fame and Misfortune, which is the overall the 157th episode of the show, from what I understand, 157th episode at that time. And the reason I want to talk about it is mainly the fact that um well I can kind of understand um, where some people, you know, here's the thing. Recently, Watchful Pony did a review with Lightning Bliss. It's the first time I'd ever heard of Watchful Pony. I think I may have heard his name in passing during the other Rift Cafe members' reviews, but this was, in a sense, was like the first time I had ever really heard about him. And nope. Oh, here it is. But yeah, like I said, it was like the first time I'd ever heard about him. And honestly, I know I've come on here. In fact, I talked about it back in September when it came on. And I did a response to After the Fact, Get a Life, which was by Silver-Quill. And everything I said there pretty much, I stick by. But, like I said, everything I stick by, everything the main six stick by. I mean, everything I said there, I should say, back in September, I stick by. But you know, when I watched Watchful and Lightning, I can kind of hear how they felt about it, and um, how they felt about it and everything, and how they felt that um, like I said, how they felt about it and everything, and it is kind of even even looking at what Silver Quill had said and stuff. I don't think any of us could. What I'm trying to say is, I think we all kind of understand where the writing staff was coming from. M.A. Larson came out basically at BronyCon and pretty much said, and you can watch this on YouTube. Pretty much said he wasn't in favor of doing this episode. He wasn't in favor of doing the premise of it, and the fact that he wrote, the fact that I think Megan wrote the episode. Was the overall writer for it? Was the writer and he wrote it or something like that? He wasn't too much of a fan of the premise because pretty much what the episode does, for those of you that are wondering why a lot of us talk about fame and misfortune the way the way we do, the way the Riff Cafe members do, the way anybody does, um, is mainly because it's one of those episodes that it's kind of a slice of life episode, but it's also a meta episode. And what a meta episode is primarily the creative staff, the writing staff, using an episode, using characters, using mostly background characters to represent the fan base, um, or to make a point. And that's kind of what Fame and Misfortune was like. It was a meta episode, like I said, kind of slice of life, but very meta episode like, because of the fact that, pretty much it was, pretty much it was basically, it was the, um, it was basically the creative staff's way of trying to let the fans know that what's happening to the characters on screen is kind of what you're doing to us. It's like, um, it's kind of like what you're doing to us. And, it's not that um, we have a problem with it or anything. It's just that you have to understand where we're coming from. And, looking back at what Lightning Bliss and Watchful Pony had to say, they bring up points. They kind of understand both sides of the fence. They understand what it's like to be bugged by fans and, criticized by fans and stuff. But they can also understand where the fans are coming from because they're fans themselves. And, they feel that they have the right to critique what they feel is not good. And I think even as Lightning Bliss put it, kind of show through the critiqueness that they could probably do better. That if given, given the opportunity, they could probably do a better job at the episode, or presenting the characters the way they're presented. You know, it's mostly in that manner that that I think some people take issue with. It's it's the fact that what what I'm trying to get at is I don't think the writers quite understand, exactly what they were doing. You know, they didn't quite, kind of understand um what I'm trying to say, and it is early and everything, early, late, whatever. Um, but when you look at Fame and Misfortune, yes, it's a funny episode. Yes, a lot of us got laughs out of some of the reactions that the characters went through. But I think what makes this a controversial episode, like I was trying to say, and Lightning Bliss has said this, Watchful Pony has said this, Silver-Quill, I'm sure Mysterious Mr. Enter has said this, Lily Pete has said this. What we're all pointing out to, and I can't wait to hear what Josh Scorcher, Firebrand, Arion, Arion has to say about it. Voice of Reason has to say about it. But mainly, we understand. There's a lot of us that understand both sides of the fence. You know, the Riff Cafe members, they understand about the whole acknowledgement and fame, and everybody wanting to meet with them and meet with them and talk to them, and just shoot the what with them over episodes or over character development and stuff, or even try to critique them, the reviewers themselves, and kind of say, well, this is what you could probably do better, or this is what you can do better, or you should do this. They can understand. you know I can relate to that in a sense, because I have people come on my videos sometimes when I link them to forums or group pages and all that, and they tell me that I should work off a script, and I appreciate that. But all the time, but there are most times that I will come out, and like I'm doing now, I will go unscripted because I like to shoot the breeze. I like to just talk off the top of my head. I like to discuss things off the top of my head without having a script right in front of me. I just wanted to get out. I just wanted to get out there. And so I can understand, the critiqueness, that the creators are trying to evade and put on us through the reactions of the main six. That through the main six, they're trying to tell us, look, we know you want us to do certain things with these characters, but this is who they are. But basically, they're trying to let us know, hey, we're doing what we can for you. Ooh, but you see how the characters are reacting to this whole reaction from these other characters, these background characters. That's how we feel. You're basically demanding that we do things and keep things a certain way, or do things a certain way, because you feel it might help the show, but we're doing it the best we can. And that's pretty much what they're doing. That's pretty much the representation through the main six that they're trying to give us, is the fact that they're trying to tell us, look, we're doing the best we can, just leave things be. But another reason I think M.A. Larson, I think he pointed out, said that he didn't want to have this episode shown, or even if he felt released, was because it was poking fun at the fan base. Not just because of what I mentioned, but because of the way we would be fans over certain characters, fictional characters. And it's not a bad thing to be fans of characters. It's not. You know, you want to be a fan of a fictional character, so be it. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to support a certain character or dislike a certain character, there's nothing wrong with that. You want to go out like Silver-Quill and Josh Scorcher, Firebrand, and I think even Lily Pete, and say Rarity is best pony, or Rainbow Dash is best pony, or Fluttershy is best pony, or Pinky, or Twilight, or Starlight. You want to say any one of them is best pony, that's fine. Totally your that's totally your choice. You can like any character you want. You want to go out and say, "Oh, I don't like Starlight because there's no reason she shouldn't be there." And you're just making her into the next Twilight, or I don't like the way Twilight was represented here. She's not a great character. Da 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 da. That's your choice. That's your choice. You can be a fan. You can like and dislike. You can be a fan. You can choose not be a fan of certain characters and how they're represented. But I think when you look at Fame and Misfortune, it's kind of in a way of the writer saying, "Look, look at you. You see how these background ponies are reacting and being fans of Twilight, being fans of Rarity, being fans of Fluttershy, Pinky, Rainbow Dash, da da da." They're pretty much telling us that, hey, this is how you're reacting as fans to them, and they're fictional characters. And you're letting your fandom overcloud your judgment by having that fandom convince you to try to convince us to represent a character a certain way. And basically, just talking about Fame and Misfortune right now is one of the reasons fans find it controversial. It's like you're trying to remind the fans, and pretty much they do that at the beginning and somewhat at the end with uh, Turalu and her friend. They're trying to remind us that, hey, look, see these two little foals, these two little female ponies, these young female ponies, these kids. That's who this show is meant for. It was not originally meant for you. It was meant for them, for kids that age. They're the ones the show is meant for. That is why we're doing this, to show you at the end what it's really about. But, and one thing that I think Watchful Pony brought out was, and I think Lightning Burst as well brought out, was Lauren Faust, when she created this, she wanted it to be a show for everybody, for all families of all ages to sit around and enjoy. She didn't initially intend it, although it was intended to be, she didn't initially intend it originally to go out and just be a show for girls that was going to sell pony toys to girls like back in the 1980s, 80s or early 90s. That it was going to be a show that pretty much said, hey, look, this is a show for all of you. You can enjoy this show. You can have fun with this show. And and not have to worry about being judged. And in a sense, again, this goes back to what M.A. Larson talked about. He didn't want this to get out. He didn't like the premise because it's pretty much, in a sense, the premise is telling us, hey, you can be a fan, but remember, this is a show meant for little kids. Don't get so over exaggerated about it. Don't get so crazy and demanding about it. And when I think about that, I think about some of the live action fantasy shows that are out there today. Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead, Agents of Shield. And I ask people, and I could ask the same question. Why are you fans of certain characters in those shows when you know those characters are fictional too? Why do you hate a certain character? Why do you like a certain character? Why do you make demands of the creative staff, the writing staff of those shows to do certain things a certain way, or to resurrect or retcon a certain character death or moment? I can ask the same question. People at the Rift Cafe can ask the same question. But we don't. Because we all know that's your choice. That's the people's choice. The creative staff of MLP, like Mika McCarthy, if she likes The Walking Dead and she's a fan of a certain character there, and she wants a certain character written the same way, she should understand, hey, that's how we are feeling. That's what we're trying to convey, that we want certain characters written a certain way. She should understand that. She should understand that and not have to worry about trying to keep reminding us that this show initially was meant for little girls, for young kids. We get that. We all get that. But here's the thing. It doesn't help when a majority of your episodes throughout the series run has references at times or morals or lessons that are way too mature or way too over the top of that younger generation, current young generation you're trying to target. Because they won't understand the moral. They won't understand the lesson given if it's too mature or too over their head, or they won't understand the reference or the pop culture reference if it's too over their head, and even before their time. All they care about is, ooh, look at the new toy. That's all they care about. I mean, if you could see it in the back here, when they go to a store in the toy section and they see any of these, do you think they cared about the moral or the lesson in the MLP movie? No. All they cared about is, ooh, the main six are now sea ponies. I want that one. I want that one. I want that one. Seriously. That's all it was. That's all it is to them. Is I want that one, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. That's all it is. That's all it really is. And I think in a sense, DHX Media, Megan McCarthy, Nicole Dubach, Haber, all those involved have to understand. That's all those kids are going to look at. They're not going to get the lessons, and if they do, that's great. But if they don't, then you shouldn't have to use an episode like Fame and Misfortune to remind the fan base, the adult fan base, of what the show's original target audience was. You shouldn't use an episode like that to kind of, in a way, showcase how some fans are. You should accept the fact that you should accept and be happy at the fact that you have this huge fan base. I mean, yeah, it might be funny, and you might you might get a chuckle at the fact that, oh wow, we have adult fans. That might and that might warrant a chuckle and a laugh here and there and a reason to poke fun. But a lot of people looked at this episode as being mean spirited. They didn't like it. They didn't like the fact that you were doing this. You were pretty much calling us out. I mean, you had one pony asking whether Applejack or Pinkie Pie were related or not. And that's a question not only myself, but a lot of fans have been wondering about. And for good reason. You tease it in Pinkie Apple Pie. You continue to harp on it in Hearthbreakers. All we want is a legitimate answer. Are you going to give it to us or not? That's all we ask. And, it's basically a matter of opinion. When you had two ponies talking about rarities entries in the journal, and even those same two ponies harping on that towards the end. Look, there's a lot of people that feel that the lessons that Rarity learned should be conveyed, should be focused on, should be shown in some way and capacity. We understand that. And there's a lot of us as fans that know she's learned those lessons. But the reason sometimes fans take issue with the fact that it doesn't seem like she has is she keeps acting the same way all the time. Guess what? That's what makes Rarity Rarity. Silver-Quill did an episode on Rarity. So did, I think, Firebrand. They did episodes on this character because of the fact that she has come so far in development. So yeah, there are going to be at times that it doesn't look like she's learned her lesson, but the truth is she has. It's just the way she acts is who she is. You can't expect her to learn this lesson and then change overnight. Same with Fluttershy. Yeah, there are moments throughout the series after she's learned to be assertive, learned to stand up for herself and all that, to where she could be dialed back a notch. But you know what? That's what makes Fluttershy Fluttershy. She will stand up when she has to stand up. She will be assertive when she has to be assertive. But she'll still be herself when it's needed, when it's mostly needed. It's just there will be moments when she'll have to bring that out. In a way, her assertiveness and standing up for herself is like a weapon she saves. It's like a secret weapon she'll bring out when it's needed. You know, and in that one elderly pony you had pointing out that Twilight was better without wings, or before she got wings. Yes, we get it. We know you've heard the complaint. We know you've heard us say that Twilight was better without the wings. But here's the thing. You can't blame fans for feeling that way. A lot of fans basically have felt that it was too soon, that this was something you could have saved until the end, but instead you decided to rush it. And here's the thing, a lot of us totally understand the fact that, Twilight having wings hasn't really changed Twilight that much. Yeah, it's taken her out of the picture at times when it comes to certain stories that she should be a part of, but she is still involved. She's still a major part of the story. And, we understand that you feel that that's an unnecessary argument. But you know what? You can't blame, like I said, you can't blame them because a lot of fans feel it was too soon and that it takes Twilight out of the equation and it puts someone else in Starlight almost in her place. So you can't blame the fans. You can't blame them for feeling the way they do. The thing is, I enjoyed Fame and Misfortune. I'm not going to deny that. I thought it was good. We're Not Flawless is a great song. In fact, I MP3'd it. Yeah, I downloaded the We Not Flawless music clip off YouTube, converted it into an MP3, and now I have it on my Samsung Galaxy to listen when I go to work at times. Because it's good. It's one of the best songs they've done. But when you get down to it, there's a lot of us. There is a lot of the fans that look at this episode as being very controversial, mean spirited, and shouldn't have been existing at all. Again, yes, we got a few chuckles here and there. But mainly what it was is you were calling out the fan base for being too demanding, for being overzealous, for being fans of fictional characters, over zealous fans at times of fictional characters, when we should be reminded that this show was and is intended for a younger audience, mostly young girls. And again, we understand that. We get it straightforward, we get it. But what you have to understand is nowadays we are in a reality. We are in a generation where anybody can choose to like anything they want. And nowadays shows like MLP, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, is one of those shows, one of those franchises that has shown that you don't have to be a young kid to enjoy it. You could be a full grown adult and enjoy it. You can critique it. You can create your own OCs out of it to review it. You have the freedom of choice to do that. And that's why when, I watched everybody talk about this from Silver-Quill to recently Lightning Bliss and Watchful Pony and Lily Pete, it's like, we get the point, DHX. We get the point, Megan McCarthy. But what you have to remember is what Lauren Faust originally intended. She originally intended it to be a show for everybody, not just the original target audience, but for everybody. And she overall succeeded in making that happen because Friendship is Magic has gone on to be a pop culture phenomenon. It has crossed gender barriers. It has crossed uh, it's crossed gender barriers. It's crossed genre barriers. It's crossed age barriers. It's done everything that Lauren Faust intended it to do and more. And I think that's what you have to remember. I mean, yes, you can have a meta episode, a slice of life episode here and there, and that's fine. But not everybody's going to be fans of it. Not everybody's going to like it. Because unless the show pretty much comes out and uses this meta episode, like let's say Slice of Life back in season 5, as being a thank you to the fans, not a lot of fans are going to like meta episodes because most times they will know that it's somewhat, if not most of the time, most of the time, is poking fun at them, and they don't like that. And I think you have to dial it back a little bit. Again, yes, there were good moments in Fame and Misfortune, but in the end, you have to realize that people are going to like what they're going to like, and that's about it. Do you think everybody likes my videos and what I talk about at times? No. Do you think a lot of people like the fact that me or Silver-Quill or Lightning Bliss or Keyframe or Josh Scorcher, Firebrand, or Ari or Arion, the fiery secretary? You know, you think people like Golden Fox and Toon Critic, even especially after what he's done or what he kind of turned himself in about? Um, You know, do you think do you think they like Thespio and Midnight Sorrenta? Do you think they like seeing adults like us, young and old, coming out and critiquing? Do you think they like Dr. Wolf doing it, coming out and critiquing episodes like My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, being fans of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? Do you think a lot of people like that? No. And they come out and they criticize us because they feel it's to them, it's freakish, it's weird, it's sick, but it's because maybe they don't have nothing else to do, or maybe they just don't understand. In a sense, that sounds like what the the staff at DHX Media at times did with this episode. It felt like they were pointing out to us, hey, we don't understand why you as adults like this show when it's originally intended for young girls. And again, it's a strange comparison, but that's how it's like. That's how it is. You know, the point is, when you get down to it, people are going to like what they're going to like. And yes, it is your choice to go out there and want to maybe poke fun at them, and that's great. Go ahead. But understand where you're coming from sometimes, because when you poke fun at something, sometimes it'll come off as funny and good and humorous and non-harmful, but other times people will take it as being mean-spirited, even after even after it's aired a couple of months later. Even after it's aired 4 months later, people can still take it, very seriously, even if, not seriously, but they're gonna take it kind of like, ooh, it sounds like, kind of like, ooh, not good, DHX, not good. So, yeah, hopefully, if we get another meta episode, slice of life episode, it won't be so controversial in a way. So, but that's all I'm gonna say, folks, about it. Thank you all for watching live. Thank you all for watching post live. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'll talk to y'all later.